What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Edgar. I'm just a guy trying to live life on his own terms, and I'm sharing what I learned along the way. I often like to say, think of me as your online older brother. I'm the person you come to when you need advice and insights into the world. So for the majority of my life, I've struggled with patience. I'm just not the type of person that's gonna sit around waiting. Whenever I make up my mind that I wanna do something or wanna get something, I can't just sit around waiting until it comes to me. I have to get out and start looking for any way to get there. Basically, the idea is, I want to do this thing, so I need to do it as soon as possible. So growing up, whenever there was something I wanted, I would spend hours and hours just working on anything I could think of that would help me get that thing. I'd get so lost in working and trying to accomplish my goals that sometimes I'd just lose track of time and even forget to eat at times. But even with all of that work, there were often times where it would take a long time to reach my goals or get the things I wanted, which would lead me to get upset or frustrated because I wasn't seeing the results that I was hoping for. So then I just doubled down on what I was already doing and work even harder. And I've always kind of seen this as a negative because a little patience could have helped me get there in a much calmer way. But my perspective on that changed recently. I had a conversation with my mentor, who happens to be a very successful corporate speaker / trainer, that completely reframed my perspective on this. And I'm going to tell you about it. But before I do that, let's talk a little bit about patience. So, according to Oxford Languages, patience is defined as the capacity to accept or tolerate delay, trouble, or suffering without getting angry or upset. In a way, patience means the exact same thing as stoicism because they go hand in hand. If you're a fan of Marcus Aurelius, then you know what I'm talking about. And by that definition, the old saying, patience is a virtue, holds true, because if we want to get to a point in life where we're not bothered by little things like delays or things turning out differently than we expected, then we must practice patience. Falling into the trap of getting upset or getting frustrated only makes our goals seem more unachievable, which ultimately leads us to giving up on them. Just the other day, I was reading an article about how 80% of people give up on their New Year's resolutions in the first 2 weeks of January. That's insane. 2 weeks is nothing. You didn't even give a chance for you to really get into the groove of chasing your goals. And according to the article, most people ended up giving up because as soon as they encountered a little challenge, they realized that their goals were a lot bigger than they expected, harder than they thought, and they got frustrated and quit. And that's kind of the point I'm trying to make. A lot of people tend to think of patience as simply waiting patiently. They tell themselves, if I'm just patient, my dreams will come true. If I just have faith that it will happen and I wait patiently for it, then it will. And then they wait, and wait, and wait, and they continue waiting until they realize that nothing's gonna happen. And then they give up. You see, the problem is that they're thinking about patience as simply waiting. They're not seeing patience as understanding that good things take time, but fully realizing that you're gonna have to work your ass off and be persistent and show up every day until you see the results that you want. That is true patience. I find it kind of funny when you're talking about patience, people tend to quote the Bible to emphasize how important it is. And they're right, the Bible talks about patience a lot. But what they don't realize is that even the Bible itself in James chapter 2 verse 17 says, in the same way, faith by itself, if it is not accompanied by action, is dead. So yes, it's important to have patience or faith in the biblical sense, but it's also important to take action towards your goals and have patience while working on your goals. And this is where that conversation I had with my mentor comes in. Meet Dave Mitchell. As I mentioned, Dave is a corporate speaker / trainer, and a great one at that. He's been at this for 30 years and he's done seminars for huge organizations like Disney, AT&T, Universal Studios, and even the CIA. He's also written several books, which I'll link in the description if you want to check them out. Anyway, Dave and I met for coffee a few weeks ago, and during our conversation, we talked about all sorts of things ranging from old comedians like Richard Pryor and Eddie Murphy to business ideas and even just general life advice. But it was at the very end of the conversation, as we walked back to our cars, that Dave said something that I haven't been able to get out of my mind. He was talking about how as his business grew, he transitioned away from training that was a little more technical to training that was a bit more rooted in leadership, psychology, and human behaviors. So I said to him, see, that's my problem. I know I'm young and I'm just starting out, but I already want to be at that point where I'm helping people change their behaviors. Now I'm paraphrasing because I can't remember exactly what Dave said, but he responded with something along the lines of, well, I'm not going to say something stupid like tell you have time, because the reality is that impatience is going to help you. It's going to push you to figure something out quicker, so lean into it. And that's when I realized that I had been completely wrong about how I viewed my own behaviors. Pushing myself and working my ass off to achieve my goals wasn't a bad thing. And truthfully, even getting frustrated wasn't a bad thing because I was able to flip it in the end and use it to my advantage, ultimately resulting in me achieving my goals. So even while I was upset, even while I was tired, even while I was frustrated, I kept working until I got what I wanted. So in a manner of speaking, I was kind of being impatiently patient. I had a bias towards action, but even while I was taking that action, I was willing to hang in there and keep doing what needed to be done, all in the name of achieving my goals. And to this day, that's the case with everything I set my mind to. Take YouTube, for example. I fully understand that I'm still a beginner at this. But if I'm being honest, at times it's very frustrating at how difficult it is to grow and how long it all takes. Yeah, I do wish it all came quickly. Yeah, I wish I had a large following. I do wish that I knew exactly what direction I wanted to take this whole thing in. But I also completely realized that with YouTube and truthfully any social media, you have to think in terms of years, not months. And I also realized that if I want to create lasting results, then it's going to take time to build and grow it. But in that same vein, I also realized that I'm fully prepared to put in the work to shorten that time as much as possible. I know I have a long way to go, but the truth is that I'm learning every day and I'm getting better with every video. It's not always huge improvements, it might be a little tweak here and there, but improvement is the name of the game and 1% better is the goal. I know that they're only going to continue getting better, and I'm honored to have you along for the ride. Yeah, maybe I'm a little obsessive about my work sometimes. Yeah, I probably fall into this category of toxic productivity that people love to complain about whenever someone tells them they need to work hard. But you know what? That's just what it takes sometimes. Anything that's worth doing is going to take some sacrifices, and it's going to take a ton of commitment. Take Kobe Bryant, for example. Kobe is arguably one of the best basketball players of all time. If you ask me, he is the best of all time, but we can argue about that in the comments. Anyway, do you think Kobe got to that level by simply practicing patience? By just waiting around till his basketball skills came in? Hell no. Kobe was well known for constantly being the first and last person in the gym. And he's actually got this great quote that simply says, "Great things come from hard work and perseverance. No excuses." So this week, I want to encourage you to do the same. What's something that you've been putting off because you have time? What's a dream that you have that you've told yourself you need to be patient for? Figure that out and then stop being patient. Take some action. Put a little toxic productivity in your life. Life isn't about simply waiting around for things to happen, and the truth is you can probably handle a lot more than you think you can, so just try it. Especially if you're young, what's holding you back? You ain't got kids, you ain't got a family. Your 20s are not the time to be searching for work-life balance. You gotta put the work in to reap the rewards. Listen, if you try it and you hate it, you can come back here and cuss me out. I really don't care, just do it. Now, if you identified your goal and you're staring at it thinking, oh shit, this is a big goal, I don't even know where to start, then you should consider watching this video next, where I talk about breaking large goals down into bite-sized steps. I'm sure you'll find it helpful. And with that, I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.